Let's keep going. So this is our ways to create a vision, and I recommend kind of taking out, so I have some worksheets that you can use. You can also use big blank sheets of paper. I love using whiteboards. I got whiteboards all over my office now. And so what we're going to do is piece together some brainstorming. So the first piece of this is using what's wrong to focus on what you want, or using what's wrong to focus on what's right. So this is part of our handouts. This is one of the most powerful things that you can do. I try to do this at least once a week. Sometimes I forget, but then when I work with a client on this, then it makes me come back and want to work on it again. So what we're saying here is, I think it's okay. I think it's a good thing to focus on what it is that keeps bothering you. So if you can sit with yourself for a moment, the way that you would do this little exercise, and you would do it with as many things as come up as possible, is you would think about, what is it that keeps coming up in my mind that is derailing me, or that is negative, or that I'm not happy with in my life, or that keeps seeming to be a problem, or something along those lines, right? Now, a lot of practitioners, or whatever the heck you want to call it, motivational people out there would say that you don't want to focus on the wrong stuff, right? I think it's so useful to acknowledge that thing that keeps popping up, but you don't want to stay there. What you want to do is you want to flip that into the opposite of what it is, and really ask yourself, what do I want instead? All right. So whatever that thing is that keeps popping up, acknowledge it, you write it down, and then you ask yourself the simple question, which is, what is it that I want instead? Not what is it that I don't want, because you know what you don't want, because that's what keeps popping up and stressing you out or causing you problems or whatever. It's the opposite of that. What is it that I want instead? And then you would write out a clear statement, or a sentence, or a paragraph that clearly explains what it is that you actually want. And that needs to feel good. It needs to be in a positive direction, using the things that we just talked about with the non-conscious mind. And a lot of times we're writing these statements out and accidentally we'll focus on the negative, but we really need to be careful with that and just keep asking ourselves, what is it that I want? Not what do I don't want? What is it that I actually want? And this is part of your brainstorming for your intentions. This is useful to do, like I said, at least once a week, or if you're just, in a funk and something just keeps popping up in your mind and bothering you, that's also an indication to sit down and say, hey, let me work with this thing. Whatever this is, let me address it. Whatever it is, write it down, acknowledge it, and then say, okay, done with that. What is it that I want instead? And this would be one of the things that you can read to yourself on a regular basis and use as a part of your little intentions and vision statements. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So, and remember, we mentioned before that the non-conscious does not process negatives very well. So we want to make sure that verbiage is in a positive direction. This is the first thing that I usually do with clients when they sit down with me and they need help in this world, like they're trying to come up with some goals or some visions or some intentions, or they have some issues going on. We sit down and say, what's wrong? Let's sit down and just talk about what's wrong. What are you not happy with? What keeps bothering you? What keeps popping up? What's the consistent theme? Acknowledge it, write it down, and then figure out, what is it that I actually want? What do I want instead of this? What is the opposite of this, or something along those lines? Such a powerful thing to do. And if you can start to program yourself with what it is that you want, and then start to notice yourself have that negative verbiage, you can flip it in the moment. Okay?